Okay, hi everyone. Good morning, Canada. Good afternoon, UK. Good evening, Bulgaria. So it's showing me that we should be live now on Facebook. I would love to see that because just in few minutes, I couldn't see that we were live on Facebook. My name is Galia Akimova and I'm your well-being concierge. So just in few seconds, yes, we're live. Okay, wonderful. Good afternoon, UK. Good evening. We're live. So today, it's Monday. Okay, sorry. So Facebook finished. Today, it's Monday. Okay. What is going on? Facebook finished. I truly believe that technically we're fine now.
Yes.
But I still can hear. I still can hear that it's microphone here. I truly believe that technically we're fine now.
Yeah, there might be a small lag, but we're live.
Yeah, I still can hear that it's microphone here. Joe, welcome.
Two of them open, so that's why there's an echo or there's a
no,
check.
it should not be. Should not be echoed. Joe, welcome.
Open, so that's why there's an echo or there's.
Is this yours open or mine?
Yours is open, not mine.
Okay. Is this yours open or mine?
Yours is open, not mine.
Okay, opens that why there's but should not be a microphone here because I'm still on Facebook. Okay. And I want to exit this. I want to exit the Facebook now. But should not be a microphone here. Here you go. I did it. Thank you. So, Joe, I apologize for the late. You're very welcome. You're my second guest from Canada. Looks like that we're building this bridge in between the Balkans, Bulgaria, and Canada. And I'm very, very happy to have you tonight. Josef Stetter, why he is so special? So we made a connection via our great friend, Robert Moore. And Joe, it's in a very interesting field, which I found a bit boring. To be honest, I never liked HR. But Joe has been in different industry. He gained so much experience. When we had the conversation, oh my God, it was like a waves of knowledge, which I so wanted to share with my audience. And if we can help even one person tonight or whoever is watching the video after that, we will be very, very happy. So who is Joe? He is award-winning speaker. He is Guinness World Record holder also. He is award-winning and international best-selling author in Canada and also in USA. And one of the best-selling book is, he has written is Congratulations, You're Hired. But he has written 4 books so far, and he is very much actually determined to write more in order to help out more people, because until now, he personally helped over 11,000 people to find their dream jobs. And the faster way and the luckiest one actually had the job just in 2 days. That what really, really thrilled me. And I'm so pleased to introduce and to invite now to bring the microphone to Joe, and he to take from here to add to introduction more, because he has so much to say. I will even ask you, Joe, to be more, in order to fit into the time, to be more precise and short answering the questions. I have prepared quite a few for you. What made you, firstly, please add into your big CV, and what made you, my first question is, to go into the HR field?
So I'll start with the fact that I didn't know what I want to do when I grew up. I kind of went into finance to please my parents, but was never happy with it. And so along the process, I've switched careers 9 times and jobs 18 times. Then kind of during that time, I kind of realized that a lot of people don't really know anything about how to apply for a job correctly. So I opened a recruiting company where I kind of set a standard of interviewing people more creatively so I can really get the root of how great they are and what they have to offer. And in the path there, because I've switched careers so many times, I realized there's a lot of people that need some of the information I'm sharing. And so I started writing books on this and coaching people for the sake of helping them succeed.
So this is actually, we'll go a little bit more deeper into this, but what are saying that your human talents are the most important talent? And it's very interesting that you said that the way you're helping your clients, you're coaching them through this process to get the job. It is very important. And is this the key? Because there are many, for example, many agencies out there recruiting people. Also, it's so much information in internet. You can go and get whatever you wish to have it. But what is the key to be successful when you're searching for a job, when you're applying for the job, to get the job?
I think the most important thing, and they talk about this in marketing, is to make sure that your branded is different, that you are unique in a sense that, for example, most people say, I know how to do this, I know how to do this. But here's the thing, if you work as an accountant, every accountant knows how to make financial statements. But if you can quantify what work you've done that have produced results for a company, now the conversation changes from, I know how to do something, to, wow, you're that good, and can you do it better for us? And I think that's the missing piece of the puzzle for most job seekers, is they've learned to say that they're hardworking, dedicated, committed, or that they know how to, let's say, do this or do that, but they haven't proven it because they don't quantify the results that they can offer.
Thank you. And we are speaking here now about the people who are already qualified to do something and searching for the job. But because you mentioned that you're coaching them, what would you say to the very young people who are just finishing secondary school or college and they're not very sure where to go? Even I know many people, I was one of them when I finished university. I didn't want to go. I studied economics, but I didn't want to go into work in the office knowing myself. So I found myself a bit of lost. And I know many other people as well. So what advice could you give them?
So again, I think most people are lost. I think the most important thing is to start making lists of what you enjoy. What are things that excite you? What are things that you don't like? And then once you understand, like, I understand, I appreciate, cultural influence, parents saying to you, go get a good job, right? But is making 6 figures and being miserable a good job, right? Is making 6 figures but hating your life a good job? Sadly, 80 to 90% of people in North America hate their job. And so
but perhaps their wives, they love their jobs because they bring money home.
Again, look, money is always important, but if you know what you like, there's plenty of careers that people don't think about where you can take two things that might not go together and put them together. For example, nowadays you have holograms and very high level kind of dolls that you can operate on to learn surgery. But you can also create the graphics for the hologram that shows, for example, a heart from different angles and how to assess that. And so if you love medicine, but not necessarily want to be doing touching blood or dealing with blood, you can create the hologram that allows people that are okay with it to actually experience that. And the biggest thing is, again, people sell themselves short. They don't have confidence that they've done something relative or important. And even the smallest thing that you've done could be the most important thing to the company that's interviewing you, because that's what's missing the most, for example. And we get so stuck, but I don't need to talk about that because it's such a small thing. No, because if it's one of your kind of results that you produced, be proud of it and own it, and then kind of use that to leverage, here's why I can do the job better or different.
Thank you so much that you mentioned confidence. It's very important, because how you can get the confidence if you don't know yourself, if you don't know what your talents are and what you are most capable to do? How can you get the confidence?
Again, confidence comes from a mindset of, I am successful. I know what I'm doing. I have a lot to offer, right? So part of my coaching, part of helping people go is, okay, you've had this career. Tell me what you've done in your career. And don't tell me like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to, but tell me like the way you would tell your partner, your family, like, you know, I was faced with this problem. It took me 3 weeks, but I figured it out. And I'm so excited about figuring it out. The moment that you figure it out, you've produced results for the company. You've saved them money, you've made them money, or you increase their efficiency. And that's what needs to translate when you're applying for the job and when in the process of kind of getting to know. You know, most people forget that. And this is an example where people are so focused inside the square of, I've done this technical and I've done this technical, check mark, as opposed to here's the human factor of, here's what I bring to the table. Here's what's unique about me, right? So just because you have an education doesn't mean anything. But if you got A's in your education, there's a level of aptitude that you've earned because you've gotten A's. If you have designed a project as part of your thesis or as part of your work, and that project produced a result, you now have a project to your name. If you have found ways to kind of make things more efficient or faster or automated, those are results. Those are things that can be quantified. The problem is that we don't quantify. Like, you know, if you say, I want to lose weight, okay, what does that mean? 1 pound, 10 pounds, 100 pounds? There's a different standard. So when you quantify, like I'm right now getting back into shape, I have released, because I don't like the word lose, because if I lose it, I have to find it again. But I've released about 20 pounds. My goal is to release about 70 pounds, but I can quantify how much I've done and how much I want or to get to, or what's my end goal. Most people, when they think about their work and they think about their professional background, they don't think in terms of what are the results that are being produced? How are they being produced? You know, in sales, you can always measure results because this is your quota. Did you achieve it? Did you go above it? How much did you go above? Right. But anything and everything can be quantifiable. If you're a receptionist and you tell me you know how to answer the phone, okay, great. Everybody on earth knows how to press the green button and go, hello, how can I help you? But if you say, I know how to answer 60 calls a day with 12 different lines, I can measure 60 calls a day with 12 different lines. I cannot measure, I know how to answer the phone. And the problem is that most people, when they write their resume and when they go for an interview, they speak, I know how to do this. Like, I know how to answer the phone, but they don't say, here's the results that I produce. Here's why I'm great at what I do.
But don't you think that this is coming because everybody is put into the matrix, and this matrix is, we know how the CV should look like, and exactly everybody follows this already prepared CVs. And this is the reason why people are presenting themselves, they're selling themselves in this way.
So here's the catch 22. Unfortunately, let's say Indeed, which is considered to be the best job board for jobs, one job posting gets between 350 and 5,000 applicants, right? Most employers look at the first 100. So if you're 101, you're out of luck unless you do a little trick like call them, even though the job posting says don't, and say, my internet just crashed, or my computer is a little bit died, or I didn't get a confirmation. Can you check that you got my application? When HR goes to check, you're number one on the list now because they actually pulled your resume. But here's the problem. If your resume looks exactly the same as everything else, and the reality is that the majority of employers spend between 8 and 30 seconds looking at a resume. That means they look at the top third to the top half. So unless you work for a company that they recognize right away, or you've used a different font, or you have used different bullets, or you kind of put a frame or color or something that helps you stand out, it's kind of like flipping cards and pick one kind of thing, right? That's why you're not getting seen. That's why you're not getting noticed. And the biggest problem is that we've gotten so used to going, this is how it works. But now, like this is what made my clients so successful is they separate themselves. They write resumes that are with personality, that have results in them, that say, this is how good I am, and I can only do it better for you because I have the experience behind me and I made the mistakes over there. If you hire me, I can only progress, kind of thing.
It's amazing. But
yeah,
perhaps many people, they don't do this. I cut you, please just hold your thoughts. But if you are scared to make this big promise, because making this big promise, you have to take responsibilities. Do you think that people might be scared to take responsibilities? That's why they don't promise, I can do this or that for your company. Because if the results are not on the table the next 6 months, what's happened?
So how is that any different than approaching someone says, I like you, can we go out? How's that any different from trying something on vacation that you never done, like to go skydiving or to go, parasailing or anything like that? Like if we live our life with I'm worried about crossing the street because a car might hit me. I'm going to stay at home and do nothing. We have to take a leap of faith that we're resourceful enough to figure things out. We can ask questions of our coworkers to get help. And once we understand the pattern, we can replicate and do it better. That's human nature. Change is one of the things that we have to do. And, like there's 7.3 billion people in the world. Like I'm happily married, but that doesn't mean that if half the population is women, that doesn't mean that half the population is attracted to me or interested in me or my personality or my background or whatever the case may be.
True.
When you're trying to find a job, you're not looking for 1,000 jobs. You're looking for one company that will recognize how great you are, that will hire you because of the fact that they recognize how great you are, and that will give you an opportunity to blossom. And the interesting part is most people, when they're stressed, when they're put against the wall, that's when they're the most resourceful, right? We are creatures of habit. We get used to routines. My wife works with autistic children. She worked for a private center where she was expected to pass an evaluation with a 97%. She got 96%. And they told her that because she failed by 1%, they will not renew her contract. Now, she'd been working there for 2 years, making minimum wage in Canada, okay, while working very hard and long hours because of the way that they did the schedule.
The way, those people in that kind of professionals, they spend so much, they give so much from themselves.
Correct. So after she cried about it for a couple of days, and I reminded her that at the time we were dating, that she's dating one of the top career coaches, she let me write her resume. She sent out 7 resumes on Sunday afternoon. Monday morning, 3 different organizations called her immediately and booked an interview with her on Tuesday. And on Tuesday, she had 3 different job offers with more money from each one of those organizations than where she was working for the past 2 years.
Amazing.
If it wasn't for her being told they're not renewing her contract, she probably would still live in that, I have my routine, I know what I'm doing, I don't necessarily want change. Those are things that, again, human factor is, I know this company, I know this, right? can I share another quick example of just
Please, yes.
the extreme of this? So I remember I interviewed a candidate that was a financial controller for a company that does blank CDs and DVDs. He was making a salary of $65,000 a year with a possible $20,000 bonus. For 5 years, his employer refused to give him a raise because they said that they weren't making enough money. Now, I interviewed him. I loved him. I sent him to a client of mine that does custom surround sounds for houses in today's market that are at least $2 million there, where everything is in the wall. There's no wires. You know, my client adored him, said, how much is he making? I said, 65 with a bonus of $20,000. He goes, great. I'll offer him a base of $85,000, $25,000 bonus to come work for me. Told the candidate the good news, candidate quit. Within a half hour, his boss came to him and said, you can't quit. You're too important here. What'd they offer you? He told them. His boss came back and said, okay, we'll give you a base of $120,000, $30,000 bonus to stay here. Candidate called me, goes, I've worked here for 10 years. I know everybody here. I know the systems. I know the routines. You know, maybe I should stay. And I started reminding the candidate, I'm like, they haven't paid you a raise in 5 years because they didn't have money. All of a sudden now they're doubling your salary. Do you think they're going to treat you better or worse when you're getting more money? I called my client, told him what happened. My client's like, there's something about this person. Okay, what'd they offer him? I told him. He goes, fine. I'll give him a base of $160,000, $40,000 bonus to come work for me. Okay. Called the candidate, told him the good news. Candidate quit again. 45 minutes later, the entire leadership team of the company came into his office. You're the only one that knows the numbers here. You're the only one that knows what's going on. You cannot quit. What'd they offer you? He told them. They came back and said, okay, within a half hour, they said, we'll give you a base of $200,000, 2% ownership in the company. You'll make about $250,000 a year.
Amazing.
My client called, the candidate called me. I was like, oh no. I called the client, told him what happened. My client was like, okay, this is my final offer to him. If he doesn't take it, he's an idiot. There's something about this guy I love. I'm going to make him my right-hand man. I'm going to give him a base of $265,000, 9% ownership in my company. In his worst year, he'll make $500,000. That negotiation took 4.5 hours. And in 4.5 hours, he got a $430,000 raise. Okay. Now, again, the reason I share this story is because for 10 years, he worked there. 5 years, no raise, no kind of opportunity for growth. Within 4 hours, he was offered $250,000 because they understood his value. And this is the problem with most people. They're so terrified of change. They're so terrified of the what ifs, you know, that they're paralyzed.
Yeah.
You know, and I have lots of stories like that. I used to work as a trader for a bank. When I left the bank and became a recruiter, I called 37 people that worked with me that every day would complain how much they hate working for the bank. And I said, I will give you a $9,000 raise, double your bonuses, better benefits. And instead of working in the outskirts of Toronto, you'll work in downtown in the financial district. And since I know you work shift work, if you work from 9 to 5, I'll schedule at 8 o'clock at night. If you work at 11 to 7, I'll schedule at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you don't miss a single hour of work. Care to guess out of 37, how many actually went?
I don't know.
1.
5. Oh, God.
1. And I got excuses like, I got used to taking a nap on the bus. What if I get the shift I don't like? I'm like, you're making $40,000 a year. I'm offering you a package that is worth $90,000, and a nap is more important to you than moving forward in life or getting the shift that you want. Or well, what if I screw up and I get fired? I'm like, you're using the exact same software, doing the exact same transaction. Why would you screw it up? Right.
So
but
this is the human factor, right?
Correct. And that fear is what stops most people. And that fear is also why they keep doing the same mistakes of cookie cutter. Like, you know, every resume is exactly the same, exact same font, exact same bullets, exact same order. And then they wonder why they're sending out hundreds, if not thousands of resumes. No one's hiring them because they look the same and nobody cares.
It's very true, but it is very important, and I really like this, and I appreciate very much, and I hope whoever is watching us now or later on the replay, they acknowledge that you emphasize on human factor, and you are coaching your clients as well, not just how to be outstanding, but the mindset need to be changed in order to succeed and to move forward in life. Because when the fear is on our driving seat, we go nowhere. This is first. When we don't know ourselves, when we don't know our gifts and talents, and we tap on what we've been told, or because of the scarcity, we just don't allow everything God have given to us, to be expressed, to be shown. And that's why many people actually are staying, as you say, this in Bulgaria. This is a big problem. But now what I'm seeing, and we can transit to something else now, I really found that your profession is going to be very important for people to find the job, their dream jobs, the good jobs, because it is more people out of from work for the last 2 years. What is happening with this pandemic and whatever, with the war as well. So there are many people suffering, many people are looking for the jobs. And also the technical part, it's taking over. The robots and machines, and the humans are actually, I don't know even what they're doing. So how these people who are without jobs, how they can find, what job they can find? We had this conversation with you, and for me, I think this is the future, and we need to find the way how to make this balance.
Look, I think that the difference is that some of the entry level, low critical thinking jobs are being shifted to machines, right? But we still need human beings to watch machines. We still need human beings to code the machines. We still need human beings, for example, to deal with the environment. We still need human beings to deal. So what you're seeing is that we don't need someone at retail to be a cashier when a machine can kind of do it, and you just hire one person to supervise and make sure that they know what they're doing. But we do need people that, let's say, can critically think, that can use problem-solving skills that a computer might not sense because they analyze data, they don't react. Like, if I use a profession of a police officer, when it comes to potentially shooting somebody, they have to make split-second decisions based on movements, based on body language, based on this, that as good as a robot is, they don't have that human instinct, for example. So humans will be needed for that, and there'll be a lot of demand for that. And there's shift in opportunities. Instead of trying to do everything yourself, if you're a job seeker, join a few employment agencies, because they have contacts with companies. They can give you work, whether it's remote work or whether it's in office work. They have connections for it. And the reason I say multiple is because one agency might not like you, but if you register with 5, your chances have increased, because they usually work in the same types of job orders, and they can create, even if it's a temporary position for you for 3 months, 6 months, a year, there's still income for that 3 months, 6 months, a year, until more opportunities come. But it's being proactive. It's not sending 1,000 resumes and waiting for a response. It's actually taking initiative. It's going to networking, and not just, hey, I'm looking for a job, but having conversations where people remember you. Like, my favorite color is purple. Every time I go networking, even the shirt has purple on it. Like, it's part of my signature, because when I email you, if you don't remember my name, Gaia, and I'm like, I'm the guy with the purple shirt, you'll remember the purple shirt. There's an emotional connection to it. So part of what I teach and part of what I help people is to make that emotional connection, where it's not just me. It's how can you be of service to them? How can you help them grow? How can you help them see? And most job seekers forget that, because they're so stressed. Oh my God, I need a job. Oh my God, I need a job. That
I need any job because I need the money. Actually, right. That's what it is.
Right. And they forget, like, if you're going and speaking to someone who's a director or a VP or a C-level executive, like, if you start the conversation with, I need a job, they don't know who you are. They don't know what you can do, but you need to kind of soften the conversation and maybe start the conversation with, wow, you're so successful. Tell me about what made you so successful, right? What are your achievements? And when they start opening up, you can start tying in and, oh, I've done something similar, but I did on this scale, and that's it. And then you build that rapport where now you've earned the right to ask for kind of help or that transition. But for
this is the key, build the rapport. Yes,
absolutely. It's always relationship building, because it's amazing when you take care of people, how much they'll take care of you back, how much they'll do more for you, because human beings, psychologically speaking, are always looking for the 3 A's: to be accepted, to be appreciated, and to be acknowledged, which is why we seek
True.
love so desperately, because love is the epitome of all 3 of them. Even
True, very true.
if your employer is yelling at you and screaming at you and doesn't appreciate the work that you do, that's the number one reason why people leave a job, not the salary, right? Is because of no appreciation, no acknowledgement, no acceptance of what you bring to the table. And if this is not the company for you, there's others. Now, again, I want to separate and kind of pay homage to my father. He passed away 10 years ago, and I, to this day, admire and respect him.
Sorry.
My father had opportunities where he had really bad bosses, but he chose to sacrifice his own happiness to provide for the family. I admire and respect that tremendously. And if that's your situation, more power to you. But that doesn't mean you have to hate what you do every day, because
you don't produce results.
You can still be gainfully employed, but start looking for something where they'll recognize how good you are and recognize the value that you bring to the table. And unfortunately, this is a problem that exists on a larger scale, especially in North America, because of competition, because of the mindset of this. And since, as you said earlier, most people do the exact same thing, it's the exact same resume with the exact same content, with the exact same approach to finding a job, they feel lost. They feel frustrated. And the longer it takes them to find a job, the more desperate they are to get something.
But there are many, many people I know, they go to the job they had years ago just for the money. They don't like it. They're constantly complaining. And then the depression started to develop, and many other illnesses, because of the thoughts and the energy we're holding just for the sake of the money. And this is not right. This is really not right. I want to ask you about the Land Your Dreams job. This is your coaching program?
Yes. So what I've done is I've taken my 25,000 hours of hours that I've learned and mastered everything there's to know about job finding, and I've put it into a kind of 8-module course where I point out the mistakes that people make, like don't give me a cookie cutter resume, give me results, add some personality to it. Don't tell me in an interview that you know how to do something, quantify it, give me the results. When you go at networking, what to wear, what to say, how to say it, how to follow up so that you're actually getting results. How to beat the job boards. There's tricks like, for example, Indeed scores your resume in 3 ways. First, when was the last time you updated it? So if you loaded a resume, let's say in February to Indeed, and we're in May right now, your resume is probably on page 7,000. Nobody sees it. But Indeed usually refreshes their database between 11:45 p.m. and 2:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So before you go to sleep, go and press spacebar anywhere on your resume and press save. The moment that you press spacebar and save, it's technically a change to your resume. So now it's counted as a new resume. So it's refreshed in the database. You're more likely to be seen. Second thing is, most people fill their resume with words like hardworking, dedicated, committed, or manage, direct, liaise. But the databases score the technical words related to the work that you do. So if you're a coder and you know how to code in Python and React and problem solve and allies, it's looking for those words, not manage, direct, liaise, and so forth. So stop filling your resume with all the action words and actually start filling it with technical words, and then also fill it with results. And not only that, but the databases score how close to your name these technical words appear. So if these technical words are on page 2, you're not scoring very high. So you need to make sure they appear on page 1 and they appear a lot, so that the database goes, oh my God, this is a perfect match because they have so many of these words and they're appearing quickly and they're appearing often, kind of thing, in the resume. Now, this is part of the art that I teach, where I've provided people 15 templates of resumes and cover letters that produce results and get them interviews very, very quickly. I've explained the psychology of writing a good resume and why anything can be quantifiable, because it doesn't matter if it's 1 or it's 1,000. It's still a result. It still shows something has been done, kind of thing. And kind of taking the how to work with agencies, how to beat the job boards, how to how to network correctly, where to network, because most people are lost and go, where do I network? There's so many free events. There's so many opportunities. Just people aren't resourceful enough to Google it, to search it, to ask questions. So I've kind of done the homework for you and said, here's where you go, right? You don't need to think, it's problem solved kind of thing.
Wonderful. So the question is, this coaching, it's part of when you offer as a package once when somebody approaches. So for example, I'm looking for a job, I wish to use your services, and I approach your company, and through the looking for the correct job for me, you do the coaching as a part
So
of the whole
I have
package.
kind of three. So I own a recruiting company, which the clients or the companies pay me for. And then I also do the coaching if I don't have positions that you're looking for, to help you market yourself to get hired, which can be done directly with me or my team, or can be self-directed on the course called landyourdreamjob.info.
Wonderful. So what is the Celebrate group?
So that is my recruiting business, and I'm kind of a corporate culturist. So I help organizations kind of hire the right people and keep them. And I service them through 5 different pillars. So the first is old school headhunting. I don't do job boards. I think they're a waste of time. I actually call people that are gainfully employed and take them out of company A and put them in company B. Second thing is I help organizations understand why they have turnover, why they have employee dissatisfaction through very high level AI and advanced personality and psychological metrics and assessments. Where I can tell you how people think, how they act, and how they behave both inside and outside of the work environment. And I give this data to the employers, and I put my candidates as a recruiter through those personalities so that when my clients interview, they actually know exactly who they're getting and why to make the right decision. With that, a big part of business right now is that culture is talked about a lot, but not necessarily practiced. So I help organizations understand how to create a corporate culture, especially in the hybrid model where people are still working from home, through data and through initiatives that get excited people about working there. I also help organizations with social responsibility. You know, if a company tells me, yes, we build houses for Habitat for Humanity, but then when I speak to the staff, I find out that they're forcing them to come in on a Saturday, Sunday, you're taking away the weekend. So I go back to the leadership and say, if you want to be responsible, pay for them Thursday, Friday, and then let them choose to come back on the weekend. You know, and for corporate culture, something as simple as like if you're doing a Halloween contest, but none of the executives dress up, it sends a message that we don't care or we're too good for you. So even if you have meetings all day, come in a mask that you bought at like a dollar store, and then shake hands, take a few pictures, and then go take off the mask and go to your meeting. But most executives don't do that 10 minutes of interaction. And the last part related to my finding courses, I help companies that need to downsize kind of remarket, retrain the people that need a job and get them back into the market.
Wonderful. So the company culture, it's something which is in my heart, but we can do this in different conversation because it's not enough time now. So what I would like to, if somebody wants to approach you, I'll be very, very happy to to hear the results. But how they can find you? We're going to put down the email address, the website.
Yeah, my LinkedIn is Josef Stetter, straightforward. I can be found on Facebook. I can be found on Instagram. I can be found, email is joe@celebrategroup.ca. Very straightforward. Happy to kind of connect and help people. People that are looking to immigrate to North America need to know some of this stuff because yes, I don't do the actual immigration. I do here's how you market yourself to get hired kind of thing.
Wonderful. So what about your books? They can find you all on Amazon?
Yeah, all on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, so we can put the links. It will be much easier for our audience, and particularly the one which is the congratulations, you're hired, and people to get to know more you and to get the advice from there. So what, in the final words, what message you would like to share?
There is great opportunities there. You just got to be more resourceful on how to find them and make sure that you position yourself and market yourself as the authority, as the best in the industry. And this is why we need to hire you.
And what was your key for success? Your key?
I've gone
share
through
with
a
us?
lot of adversity myself. I had a business partner that taught me a $330,000 lesson, wiped me clean. And I had to kind of reinvent myself and recreate and just hustle for the sake of succeeding. And because I want more from my life, especially now that I'm a father and having more kids on the way, I want to make sure my kids have the best experiences possible. And so this is what drives me to help more people succeed.
Amazing. But because you trust it, you believe in yourself, you understand your gifts and talents, and you know that actually, if you really bravely go forward, you'll succeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, I would love to say thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to
I just
to
want to
add?
say thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing my wisdom with the people that you know as well.
You're very welcome. I found fascinating, to be honest, because at the beginning, before even I met you online, I didn't know how this conversation will go, and particularly speaking about HR, because that's I know how important it is, but it's never been in my field. And I'm so grateful that we met and we were able actually to share with your audience what you have to offer, because it is amazing. What they're saying, that if you think that I wrote this down, if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait until you hire the amateur. And it is
True.
always true. Sometimes we're really very stiff to spend the money, not to splash the money, but to spend the money for the professionals. But actually, always I advise, do it. Without coaches, without the professionals in our life, it's more difficult. We on our own to move forward. In order to be successful, not just to pick the mind and the brain of those who have succeeded already, but also to allow ourselves and them to work together for the best, for our best. So thank you so much,
Thank you.
Joe. Thank you so much, everyone, being with us. Gali Akimova, your well-being concierge, and Josef Stetter, who is waiting for you to contact you. Joe, if there are any questions, I will forward to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Till next Monday. Thank you.